So did it work out?
But yesterday same problem we are facing now, like
That
mhm.
some of the component gets corrupt, right? If we
Yes.
change. Okay,
Mhm.
now I'll give you some idea why it might be doing it. Okay.
Okay.
So yesterday, let me actually open my MS Paint and then we will talk about it. There are two things. Uh, like suppose this is an application, okay,
Yes.
and we have a component there. Suppose here we have multiple components, right? Here in a, we have a workspace and then we have multiple set of components, correct? Now, what we are talking about is this particular component is not applicable. Okay, so what we do is we just make the applicability rule to say that it is not applicable anymore, right? Now when we say this component is not applicable, that means uh, the application doesn't have any knowledge of this component because it's not applicable anymore. So system has kind of, it is behaving as if this component was never added, correct? But
Yes.
in some cases, yesterday session also I was mentioning that applicability and visibility are two different things. Now in the case of applicability, when I say actually it is true for all the application, not just EIS. Okay, that
Yes.
when we say applicability, component is not applicable in the application doesn't have any knowledge about this component at all at the runtime. My application contact, when it is running, it's gone from my application, that component. But there could be certain cases that I want to just make it invisible for my UI people, right? Whoever are seeing my UI, I just want to make it disappear, or like I want to just say, like, this component is not visible anymore. So what I'm just basically doing is I'm just making it invisible. Okay, or I can just fill in the color also. Let me just fill in some color here. So what I will do is I will fill black color. So this component is there in the background, but my application doesn't see it on the UI because we have hidden it. We just colored it, so that it's not visible.
Mm.
Got the difference between applicability versus visibility, right? Any
Yes.
questions, like, what is visibility and what is applicability? In applicability, this component will not be there in the application contact at all. Whereas in visibility, we are saying that this component is just invisible at the UI, but it's there in the background.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. Now let me go to EIS and show you. These two things are very simple, same thing, but it produces different kind of result. And we can actually do hide the component using either way. Like we can do the component applicability, or we can do the component visibility also. Now let me go to my component and then I will show you. Like, I don't need to unlock actually. I will go to workspaces, and this is where I am defining my workspace. And actually it has to be this. Yeah, so let's go to a particular tab. Okay, sorry about that. So in this risk assessment tab, we have multiple components added, right?
Mm.
Now it's very simple to do the visibility. Okay, sorry about that. So suppose now this is the component. Let's take any component which has both. So you see this V, and then there are A and V, and then in some places you will only have A. What does this A and V means is applicability and visibility. Okay, so this means this particular component has both applicability rule written on it, and also it has visibility rule written on it. Okay, the component applicability rule we saw yesterday, like how do we do it? We just go to this particular component, and then in your applicability condition, you set the condition here,
Condition, yes.
right? And this will be applicable or not applicable. Now, I'm not sure if I can go back, but let's do this way because it will session out if I press the back button. So risk assessment. So yeah, any component basically we can see. Then how do we define the visibility rule? We know how do we define the applicability rule. And the next comes thing is like how do we define the visibility rule? So if you see this particular component only have the visibility rule. So you see in the workspace, I am in the workspace right now where I'm seeing all my components under risk assessment tab. And if you see at the end, there is this eye icon, right? Uh, Small icon. If I click on it, I can define the visibility for this particular component. Okay. Now my this component will be visible if my endorsement is not FBI endorsement or it is not FBI endorsement correction. Then it will be visible. Basically, I am saying. Got it? Very simple. I'll show you the other examples also, like where we have this visibility rule written. Just very simple. Just set that condition and it will behave accordingly. So this one also is. This one is for FBI endorsement. It won't be visible, and for correction also it won't be visible. Okay. Uh, Similarly, let's see this one visibility. See, this one has a very big visibility rule. Now, workspaces, we have seen how the component will be in the background, right? We have seen that component, every component will have a .xml file. So suppose this particular component, I want to see the configurations in my code base. I simply do double shift here and then search this file name, and this .xml file is my component configurations, right? And I simply open it, and I see that there is a condition expression which is provided to me where I can provide the conditions for my component applicability, right? So how do I do that same configurations for my visibility rule? Now this there is a difference, like this applicability rule we were doing at the component level. So that means that will be in the component file. Like I have to go to this component, and then within this component there is an option to provide the applicability rule, right? So I'll have to provide that. But here, if you see the visibility, it works little differently, but it's the same thing. If I have to go to workspaces, and then workspaces, I have to see the list of all the components, and it is defined here in the workspace configuration. If you see, right, I am in the workspace configuration now. I'm not in the component configurations. So the file for this is that we are in the default workspace, right? So the file for this in the background is default underscore tree.xml. This means we are defining our workspace. And if you see the location of this particular file, it is if you notice, observe the ending of this file, right? How does it ends? It's in the product, and then it is in the workspace configurations, and then default tree.xml, right? And this is what we see here also in the UI. We are under workspaces, and then we are under default tree. Okay. So under this, let's find out one of these visibility conditions. So let's check risk nodes and see how this visibility is defined. So if I go to this particular so this, see, different tabs have their different components. So now we are in this tab, and basically we are talking about PVFG DIUW risk nodes, and this is the visibility expression. Very simple, like what we were seeing it in the UI. See, UI is nothing but there should be a configuration in the backend, right? See, any configuration what you are doing in the UI, basically you can do it in the code base also. Everything what you see is in the UI has a corresponding uh, code file to say, right? There is nothing magic. Is no. It is not showing anything on its own, but whatever we have configured, it is picking up that configuration. It is showing the UI, right? And as I had mentioned in previous session also, all the configurations are done in basically, .xml files or .properties file or such files, like where we can do the properties and system can read those properties and do the things, right, based on that configuration we are doing. That is the idea behind the configuration. And you see, this is the configuration file we have, and this is a .xml file. Here you are talking about these elements of XML, right? And we are defining everything in the nodes. So we call it node, right, in XML. So here we have assigned items. We are talking about this assigned item, and then this is the visibility rule for this. So similarly, we have for other component also, UW dashboard summary, this one, UW dashboard summary, and here we have this applicability rule. Sorry, visibility rule, not the applicability. We saw it is under the proper component file, which is an XML. If you see this particular file path, it is under component configurations. If you see at the end of the file path, right, component configurations and then the component name.xml. Or we can see it in the here also. Like once I start link this particular code here, and if you see the path is under component configurations. Okay, and we are in the product folder. Similarly, we will be in the product folder, but we will be under workspace configuration this time, not under the component configuration. So both are at the same level. See here, component configuration is here, and then we have workspace configuration here. But both are in the this product what we have. See, this is the master one, which if you remember, we select here two ones, right? Root or master. So we will change it to root. So this is the settings for root. This is the settings for master. Very simple thing. Like whatever you see in the UI, it's similarly we have everything in the code base also. Whatever you want to do it through the UI, you definitely can do it through the code. So this one I wanted to highlight. And then one more thing, if you see, the component could be disabled also. Okay, we have seen, like, this case. Uh, so one component could be like this is hidden. I can have one more component here, which is actually basically available on the UI. But this particular component, I can go ahead and fill my value, like, this is A, and then I can go ahead and put some value here B. But there are some component where, those purpose is that, it wants to show some information to the user, but they should not be able to change anything. So basically that means is that I want to disable this component. Okay, it will be shown to the UI, but it will be disabled, and user will not be able to put something here. It won't be say like it will be disabled on the UI. We actually have seen a few examples also. Uh, and actually I'll show you the UI later. But if you see here, along with the visibility condition, I can also provide the disability rule here. So similar rule, like, something like what you were doing, policy dot single or multi questions, multi questions equals single, right? So suppose I can write this condition and say that, my component is not visible. And what no, Pankaj, what I am guessing is that, the component what we were trying yesterday, the discount component, they might have some visibility rule written on it, and that's why it is no, our uh, system was getting corrupted. Like each time we
Okay.
make the
Mm,
changes, like let's
mm.
quickly see those discount. There is actually applicability condition only on those discount. There is no visibility condition. So these are the discount components where it is. I mean, the one we were looking at was this MNR discount, right? And then
Yes.
MLD discount. Okay. So if you want me to change something, let me go back and unlock my product, and we will try to make some change. Okay, let me go back to workspace. We will only try to play around with the visibility now. Okay. So suppose I will take AFD discount, and now I am going to add some visibility condition. It is not visibility rule. It is visible if it is single or multi-life question is not equals to single, I will say. Okay, and it will be disabled when multi-life question is single. Let's try it out. I don't know
Mm.
how it will work because my workspace already is corrupted. My component is already corrupted, but you can take a screenshot also. Like, what I am trying to do. Similar thing you can also try to do. I'm just putting some visibility condition and the disability rule. Uh, got it? Took the screenshot.
Yes.
Okay. Now I will save this. Now, if you see this, there are three conditions now: applicability, visibility, and disability. AVD. Now let me go ahead and lock my product again. It's very simple conditions, no? But it might get complicated if there are multiple conditions you are writing for the same component. As in the case in PFG, they have a lot of conditions based on which they want to show these components or make it applicable. Um, if you remember that, I was showing you these conditions. These are getting bigger and bigger. Okay, this one was really big. This case, there are multiple conditions they have written. Okay, so my product is logged. Let me go back and try to create a customer here basically. Oh, sorry, quote, not a customer. Ajay. Then I'll go and try to create a quote and see the visibility of our component. You remember which component we had added? We made the applicability change for which component?
Discount.
Which discount? I forgot.
M. Just 1 minute. MNRD.
MNRD. No, I did some changes. I don't remember which component I did.
Okay.
Let me recheck that. But let's see for the policy. And then
MNRD discount.
MNRD. Is it?
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there in your screenshot?
Yesterday I wrote in my notes.
No, no.
That's why.
Actually, today's component is different. Uh, Let me quickly check that. Okay. I'll just quickly go to product, search, disability income. I won't unlock uh, workspace. By default, it takes me work. Okay, I'll always forget this one. At some under policy tab, and where we have the disability AFD discount. Okay, and how it is shown in the UI is let's see the label also for this particular. So its component level is AFD discount. So let's see AFD. See it actually my system doesn't show that discount section itself. So something has happened with my system. Did you try it out with this condition? Let me put it single and let's see if that component is visible. Actually not. Individual with multi life. For others, it's not even visible, right? For a single, I had made the condition that it should be visible or disabled, right? So it will be visible, but it will be disabled like this. So yeah, this is the example of how the component will be disabled. Like if you see original effective date, this is for your information only. You cannot change anything here. So this is what the meaning of disable attributes, or you can do it at the level of attributes also, and you can do it at the component level also. Like this is a big component where there are multiple attributes. But if you want to do, they have done is not disable this entire component, but they have only disabled this particular field here. Okay, this field disability is also very simple, and we will talk about these rules at the attribute level also. Let me show you this example. But you got the idea, right? What we are trying to do, we can either disable this particular component so that no one can enter the value there. It's just for to show them the information on the UI, but not for their not edit. Like they cannot do it any changes in this. Okay, let's go back to the product, and what we have seen is we have seen the visibility and applicability at the component level. At the attribute level, it is just you can make the attribute hidden also, and you can make it disable also. And let me quickly show you. So we are in the policy tab. Let's go to policy tab itself and see like how they have disabled this particular uh, attribute. Okay, original effective date. Now the component is not disabled. If you see the component, there are other fields which are actually editable,
Mm.
but only two attributes are not editable. So if you want to do a component disability, I showed you like how to do it. uh, but if you want to do it at attribute level, you have to go to the component, and then you have to go to attributes, manage attributes, and then which attribute we are talking about here, you have to go to that particular field. So now in this case we are talking about uh, original effective date and termination date. So let's see original this is the termination date. So see, it is showing disabled also, like this one is disabled. And then there is another field, we have original effective date, this one also is disabled. Okay, so let's go to original effective date attribute. Now I just clicked on it, like I went to, like I'll re-show you. uh, I just clicked on manage attribute, it will give me all the list of the attributes under that particular component. This is clear, right? And now
Yes.
if I want to make this setting at a particular attribute level, I have to go to that attribute and make the setting. Okay, now
Mm.
I go to inception date, and there will be certain configurations available to me that I can do at the attribute level. Now this original effective date, we are saying that it has to be shown in the UI. Okay, I can now very well say that even though I have selected it in the policy tab, but it will not be shown. It will be hidden in the UI. It will be available on the back end, but it will be hidden from the UI. Again, include attribute in comparison. This is another thing that we will have to see. Like this attribute will be used in comparison to the other fields. Okay, like based on this attribute fields value, the other fields might be available or not available. The another one is include attribute in rating. This is a very special field, and I need to talk to you. I'll come back on this one at the end of this session only.
Okay.
And then attribute is business sensitive. These two are working in collaboration, and I will talk about it. Value change should trigger page refresh. Like what we are saying is that if you are changing any value here. So suppose AK. If you see what happens is, page refreshes. You know, so at this page refresh, based on the value of this return state, it is running few background rules, like, based on whatever rules are written based on the value of this return state, those will be executed. Now this is what it does, like, uh, uh, that attribute value change should trigger page refresh. Like, I'm changing the value of this field and it refreshed my page. See, like whatever rules, so resident state is based on maybe a return state or any other rule, but it executes that rule. I will tell you the rules also. It's very, very simple rules, what kind of rules it executes. All these things are, very, very simple. It's just that you need to be aware of these things. Okay, so these are the level of settings you can do at the attribute level. So till now we had not spoken about the attribute level setting. We were only talking about component applicability and component visibility and component disability. Now let's see how we do the uh, how do we make this attribute required or disabled. See, there are two things you are seeing. This attribute could be, ending with the red asterisk, meaning that it is a mandatory field. The other field, backdating, is not a mandatory field, so there is no red asterisk. Means even if you don't provide the value of it, you can go ahead and issue your policy. The other field, you see, this is disabled field. So these are the meaning of these two fields. Whether my attribute is required or disabled, you can do this setting here. Okay.
Okay.
Set constraint we can leave alone for now. Lookup I'll have to tell you in detail. Like lookup is, this simply this component. If you see the policy type attribute, you see it is coming as a drop down. Source also is coming as a drop down. Single or multi-life is also coming as a drop down. How that happens is through lookups. Like if I apply a lookup here, there are actually multiple lookups available in the system, and we can define one also. It's super, super simple. Okay. And once we have those lookup available, we can just configure it here. Let me show you, or I will come back to it also later. For lookup, I will take another session. I'll have to show you, like, how do we uh, configure a new lookup in the system. Okay.
Okay.
And let me talk about these two things, what we have here. Okay. Or you want to see the lookup? Let me just give you an idea of lookup, and then we will talk about this field in that particular field only. Like, let's take this policy type as an example. That will have everything. So policy type, this one is the field. So if you see, this is a required field. Now if we will see, this required will be selected and disabled is not selected, meaning that this is a required field but not disabled. If you see here, DI is a required field and it is not disabled. I can change the value. But here, original effective date, what we were saying, it was a disabled field.
Disabled.
No, this settings, Pankaj, you try it out in the system. It's super, super simple, right? You are just doing some settings in the um, in your component, but at the attribute level. And in the code wise also, if I show you policy.xml, this is our component. So the configuration file will be policy.xml, right? So every component has a corresponding .xml file, which is a configuration file. So if you see app type code, this is XML file, and here you can this is very simple, that attribute constraint, disability indicator, mandatory indicator. If you want to make it mandatory, just make it true. It's so simple. Like, if you want to do it in the code also, you can change your disable indicator to true also. Okay. Like you do the selection here, right? Required and disabled. The same thing in the XML, you will have to do true and false. That's it. But for this particular type, app type code, we are talking about policy type here. Let me see policy type. Policy type. So this is my attribute entry. If you see, for each attribute, it has an entry here in this component configuration file in the background. And for policy type, I want to make right now it is a mandatory, it is true. and disabled is false, but I can change it. Okay, and I can also set the default value, like uh, so there are multiple values in this particular field. Do I want to see any value by default? Like if you see this field is coming as empty, right? But other fields there is some default value already present, right?
Mm.
So that also we can do it in here. Like default value is di. You see here, very simple. Just say like, whenever any user comes and create a code, there will be a default value, so that if they don't change it, that will be default, but if they want to change it, they can change it. So this is just to save the effort of the user of this system, that whenever you are trying to create a code, some of that data is already filled, isn't it?
Yes.
So that is a default value, like by default this field will have this value, so you don't have to provide each and everything. Like this MNSA discount might be selected by default, or I don't know, based on some condition. But this is the this is how you define some default value also at the attribute level. Okay, and you change the required and disabled. And this is what I wanted to show you, particularly in this policy type, that you have a drop down here, J and
AI.
JRS. How that is defined is using this lookup policy type code. So policy type code is defined in system already, and how it is defined is that is also super simple. New tab, duplicate to the right. Let me see if it opens up. I can quickly show you also. It's just a simple thing that you are defining, that your component will have some drop down, and you are defining those values. I think Karthik already had some idea. We are using that lookup for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
Policy type. So this general, under DB lookups, I will just search for this lookup name, and it could be used for multiple purposes. But this here we are only defining the values, like the DI value is there, and then DIRS value, and then you can define other values also. So there are two products. For each product I am defining, like for disability income, DI is the option, disability income, DIRS is also the option. If I want to add a few more entries in this drop down, I simply change that lookup, and it will come here. Like, so suppose we want to have another type of policy here tomorrow, we can add one here. But for that, I will give you another session. Okay, that is super simple, and I'm going to show you like how to define a lookup. Okay, it's not specific to EIS. Lookup is a technology created using Liquibase. If you can read out Liquibase, what is Liquibase? uh, you will find that it's not EIS specific. It is used with other products also, and it's common to use that in multiple projects. Okay, so it will be interesting that you can read out Liquibase and know what it is. But anyway, I'm going to take another session. But here I just wanted to show you how these values are coming. These values are coming in the attribute through a lookup. This lookup is simple lookup. We can define what are the values we are going to have, and then this lookup could be used at multiple places. Now suppose I'm using this field here in the policy type, but another one in the maybe plan definition, I also want to use this lookup for some of my field. I can do that. That is why they have uh, made it separate, so that one lookup could be used at multiple places, and it could have multiple uses also. Okay, this is the purpose. So it will
Okay.
simplify things, right? It
Yes.
will avoid duplicacy in the project also, like same values you don't have to define again for any other given field you want to utilize. So this is a little about lookup, but don't worry too much about the lookups at this point of time. I am going to talk more about how do we define this lookup. So this is I'm showing you the attributes properties or the fields properties. Okay, and there's two fields I wanted to talk to you specifically. Include attribute in rating, and attribute is business sensitive. Here, when we are marking an attribute is business sensitive, is that it is not a simple field. Simple field in the sense, like policy type is not a simple field. Based on my policy type, lot of things depend in the next tabs. Now, if my policy type is DI or DIRS, if my policy is DIRS, multiple fields will not be available and multiple new fields will be applicable. So based on DIRS, this is different policy type altogether. If you go to an insurance company and you want to buy some insurance, life insurance, so it could be a term insurance or it could be a non-term insurance, and for each life insurance they will give you a different form, isn't it? The number of questions they are asking will also differ based on whether you want to have a term insurance or non-term insurance. Okay. Similarly, for disability also, you have your DI policy type or DIRS policy type. So here, what we are telling by marking this as a business sensitive is that this is a very business sensitive field. Depending on this, within the same quote, actually, I am creating two different forms. If I selected DIRS, this is a kind of a different form than what we have for DIRS. Is the meaning. Other field I want to mention here is include attribute in rating. Now, see, you are filling here all this data, application receive date, application effective date. Does your application receive date, if it is like 1 day or 1 week in advance or 1 week in before, does will this change your premium amount you are going to change? No, right? If you are saying we are going to LIC and say that I'll buy it from today or tomorrow, uh, that should not change your premium for that particular policy, until and unless they are changing that particular policy's metadata. Okay. So in other words, this is not a rate sensitive field. Means even if it is 519 or 526, I will get the same premium. Right. See, the page also is not refreshing on change of this value. Similarly, there are multiple other fields like email. Would it change your premium amount? No, right? It could be pankaj@eastway.com or vijay@eastway.com. You supply any email here, it doesn't matter. If for this particular policy you have $1,000 premium you have to pay, you will have to pay irrespective of whatever email you provide, isn't it?
Yes.
But if you provide my plan definition, let me go to plan definition. There is a benefit amount. Like benefit amount is the amount which is insured is supposed to pay to the uh, uh, the guy who is buying this insurance. Okay. To the insurance, what is the word for that? Then when there is insurance and then there is another party, insurer. Okay. Like the insured. This monthly benefit amount field is a rate sensitive field. Why I'm saying it is a rate sensitive field? If suppose you go and buy life insurance policy now, I am saying like I want 10 lakh coverage for the same policy, but now Karthik is going and say that no, he is saying that for the same policy he wants 20 lakhs coverage. So does he has to pay the same premium as me or more?
More.
More, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So my coverage amount is a rate sensitive field, meaning if I put here 2000, I'll have to pay a different amount of premium. And right now, actually, this example was given by Karthik also. Like once he had changed monthly benefit amount from 2000 to 5000, and then he had again rated. Pankaj, you try it on your system also. Fill all the data.
Mm.
Go to premium summary.
Mm.
Keep this as 2000. Just try to rate it. You will get a rate.
Yeah,
But
inside a premium something. Mm.
now, but if you change it to 20,000,
Mm.
and then again you go and see the rate will be changed for you.
Yeah.
The premium summary.
Yeah.
So this is the meaning of a rate sensitive field, that you are telling system here that this is my rate sensitive field. Include attribute in rating, meaning this whatever value of this attribute will be considered while you are rating it. Rating is the premium calculation mechanism. We also call it rating, we also call it pricing or premium calculation. You call it anything, but it's the same thing, that it is calculating the premium for your policy. Okay, depending on I want 10 lakh coverage, or Karthik wants 20 lakh coverage, the premium will differ, because we are going to provide the value of that field to the rating engine or the pricing engine or whatever you call it, premium calculation engine. Okay, and that will be as an input provided to the rating engine. Rating engine will take that as an input, calculate your premium, and return it back. Got it? So this is
Yes.
how you mark a field as include attribute in rating. Okay, this is I think mostly what we have covered about the configurations of a component and also the attributes. We have seen the component, how do we put it in the workspace, and then also we have seen the component applicability condition, we have seen components visibility condition, we have also seen components disability condition, and then uh, inside that component we can have multiple attribute, and for each attribute you can apply these properties, whether to show this in the UI, what is the label of that particular attributes in the UI, what are the default values of that attribute, whether it is a required field on my UI or not, whether it is a disabled field on the UI or not. No? All of these things are very simple, and it's all the configurations only. You don't have to write any Java code. It's that you change your XML files, whether it is a component configuration file or a workspace configuration file. Within the component configuration file, you also have entries for the attributes. Okay, then you can do the attribute level settings within the component file only. So suppose if I want to do policy type, as an example, I was telling you that I want to make this field as disabled. I will just go ahead and change this to true, right? So suppose I want to change the default value of this particular field, and I don't want DI to be my default value. I want DIRS to be my default value. No, Pankaj, if you can take a screenshot and do this as your exercise also. Like instead of DI, I want to change the default value to DIRS for policy type.
Okay.
Try it, and also change disability and mandatory indicators in the UI or through the configuration file. One and the same thing. If you do it through the code, you will have to do your product deployment using this command, right?
Mm.
cm.cmd space dpo. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, any questions, guys, you have on the uh, now I think you have a fair amount of idea, what is a workspace, what is a component, what is an attribute, and how at each level we can provide some settings, to make it visible, to make it hidden, to make it applicable, to mark any field for the rating sensitive or business sensitive, to define the default values of a field, to mark it required or disabled. Super, super simple. It's just the settings, but it's just that you have not done it. It might look complex to you, because you have not seen the system, you have not worked on it specifically. I think Uday, for you it might look like what we are doing is is going over our head. But once you get the access to the system and you try all these configurations, it's super, super simple. And Pankaj, if
Yes,
possible,
Vijay.
just try to show them. uh, just try to work with Pankaj on this, and he can show you also. And all these things, just go
Okay.
through the video. I'll just send you the video link, and whatever we have mentioned in this meeting, just try it out also. I will stop the recording also.